So now we want to talk about the two dams that were built in Tioga County. Do you remember what year the dams were built? In the 80s?
It's around 1970, wasn't it? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The Corps of Engineers have studied Tioga rivers since Mr. Coles told me they were in Mansfield in the 30s studying and we had annual floods in the Tioga River. At times you couldn't get on to Smythe Park because it would override the small dikes that they had, and the park would always get flooded. So they came in here in, I think, the 60s, anyway, 1960s, and began to make studies of the dams. And finally they came in and with a plan to make a dam at Tioga and prevent the annual floods that was doing damage in the Chemung River Valley watershed. And they showed us the first plan, and they didn't mention recreation or anything. And we took a look at the dams, and when we found out they were buying up property. First they buy up the property and they can get what they need for building, and we decided that we'd take a look at those dams that they had built in New York State. We went up there one time, I remember, right after they had a flood, and they raised the water up as high as necessary in the dam during the flood, and then gradually let it out after the flood. And we took a look at where they had done this, and it was a mess. It was a flood, mud bottom, and dead trees, and a lot of flood debris where the dam was. And we decided that wasn't good for Tioga County. And until, we started objecting to the dam before they got started. And I was, at the time, land use administrator and also editor or publisher of the Mansfield Advertiser. And we took a definite position against that type dam. The Borough Council and the county commissioners and myself went to Washington, and Herm Schneibly was the congressman at that time, and he had gotten dams in Lycoming County, and he was saying, we got to be careful because I'm for those dams in the counties. And I said, that's perfectly all right. So he looked over my presentation when I got down there. I showed him why I was opposing to the dam, that we wanted them to build a dam and have recreation with it. And so he agreed to that type, and he reworded my presentation a little bit. And I presented the paper to the budget committee of the Congress.
Wow.
And the commissioners, the borough people had an opportunity to comment to the senators and congressmen. And we came home feeling like, well, I think they're going to help us. And they had a congressman there from New York State, and he sort of had been in favor of the dams, and he agreed with it. Better to have recreation than having that other type. So before the year was out, the Corps got authorization to change their plans, and they took their plans back and made provisions of Lambs Creek and Mill Creek on Tioga River, and a big drift called Big Rift area, which is a place where a lot of hunters did a lot of hunting, and the hunters, when they discovered that they wanted to be on their hunting grounds with the dam, results of the dam, they objected. So the Corps said, well, we won't do anything there, but we'll do more at Mill Creek. And they had after they built the dam and they were putting in recreation on the Kauneski River, they put a dam there at the same time. They had a nice big recreation area on that dam, and they hadn't done anything other than build a walkway from Mansfield to Lambs Creek on the old railroad right-of-way. And that was pretty nice, but they didn't do anything at Lambs Creek, and they promised during the dedication that they'd be back in 2 or 3 weeks and start a recreation program at Mill Creek. But it never happened. And we pushed all we could for them to get the land rights and things for their dam in Mansfield and Corey Creek. And Corey Creek, they put underground, and there's nothing along that creek now except they have a little dam, but that made it better for the university because their water supply comes from Mill Creek, and they have a dam to get water from Mill Creek. Yeah. So we sort of sat on the high side of the dam, and no recreation on the Tioga River. There is an organization, Native American organization, I think, have decided to do something in Mill Creek. Mill Creek has a big area that they can have recreation on, and they are gradually doing more there on their own.
Is that the Mill
The Corps of Engineers, I mean the annual, what is it, United States firearms people.
Oh.
Anyway, the gun clubs organize and have a youth fellowship training session there every week, every other week, every other year. They meet first out west, and then they come back to Mill Creek. And the first year they came back, they liked it so well that they made it an annual every two years, where they come back. And they bring a lot of people into the Mansfield area for that youth gun training, and that we like, and hoping that the Corps will not forget us completely.
Now, is that the Mill Cove place? Is that what they call it, or is that something else?
The what?
Mill Cove, is that Mill Cove, or is that something else?
They call it Mill Cove.
Okay.
Because there is a Mill Creek already in Pennsylvania, and they didn't want to have a combination.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, I think that covers it with the dams then. Okay, and that, of course, has cut down on flooding a lot.
Yeah. The Corps has a nice place over on the other side of the dam in the creek on the other side of the valley from Wellsboro, and they have a nice recreation area over there.
Okay, well, that's